So we've about wrapped up the shadow system, but there is one category that we haven't touched yet. We've already done depth. We've already done distance. Now all we need is direction. And this is where we are going to start doing our panning, both our regular panning and our Haas panning, if you remember from a few videos ago. So we're just going to dive right in. So the way that this is going to work is that I'm going to, first off, make any mono tracks that have multiple microphones. I'm going to make those stereo, and then I'm going to use panning to pull stuff to the left and to the right. And then finally, I'm going to use some Haas panning to get some of my background stuff to sound a little bit more natural whenever I get it out of the way. So for me, this is the moment where my 2D mix becomes 3D. You know, I've got the depth, I've got the distance, but this is where I get everything out of the way. It's not quite so just stuck in the middle. So let's start off by looking at some of these tracks. I've got a few tracks, like I said, that are multiple different audio files because either they were two different microphones that were recorded in the room, or they were like a stereo sample. I kept all that stuff mono. It's a lot easier to mix stuff when it's in mono and then make it stereo later because you're able to actually hear it accurately. You're able to hear what it's doing whenever it's coming in contact with the other instruments in the mix. So first things first, I'm going to go in here. I'm going to start pulling stuff to the left and to the right so that I can get that nice stereo sound.
I miss you so badly. I don't know if I'm even thinking straight. I'm feeling numb. Oh, I can taste your love. I miss you so badly. I don't know if I'm even thinking straight. I'm feeling numb. Oh, I can taste your love. I miss you so bad.
So that's already wildly different, right? Just basically creating stereo files out of these mono files. Now, this is something that you may or may not have to do, right? If you are starting your mix with stereo files, or if you just have a bunch of mono files with no stereo siding, then you could pretty much skip this, right? But for me, I like to make sure that all of my stereo files are in mono at the beginning. That way I can make sure I am doing my mix in mono to the best of my ability. And then I get to spread everything out, and it just feels great whenever it gets to happen. So now that we've done that, let me take all of the all these folders back in here. We're going to start doing our panning. So obviously we want everything that is in the front of the mix to stay in the middle. We're really not going to want to deviate much from that center space because it needs to hold the listener's attention to the best of its ability. So again, I like to just hit play and think, what could I put somewhere else? Even if I just move it a little bit, it's totally fine.
I miss you so badly. I don't know if I'm even thinking straight. I'm feeling numb.
So for example, the piano, I could probably get that out of the way, move it just a little bit to the right.
I miss you so badly. I don't know if I'm even thinking straight.
And you don't have to pan super aggressively. You know, there are some people who are really big into what's known as LCR panning, where they will only pan to the left 100%, the right 100%, or right down the middle. I think that that's really limiting yourself. There are other people who are really big into 50-50 panning, which is actually something that Rob is huge into, where you basically say, okay, I can only pan 100% to the left, 50% to the left, 100% to the right, 50% to the right, and center. That's also fine if you want to do that. For me personally, I don't have much of a system for panning. I like to just move stuff a little bit if I feel like it needs to be moved a little bit, and move it a lot if I feel like it needs to be moved a lot. I will say, don't be afraid of sending something all the way to the left or all the way to the right if you feel like you really need to get it out of the way, especially if it's in the background, just because you can start to use Haas panning to make it sound a little bit more natural and a little bit less just kind of sitting out there independent of the rest of the mix. So let's keep going.
I miss you so badly. thinking straight. I'm feeling.
I'm panning these two snares kind of to the left and to the right, partially because I want them to still stay in the middle, but these are all just different layers of the same snare hit. So I'm okay with getting just a little bit of stereo width, especially because this snare sample right here is mono.
I miss you so badly. I don't know if I'm even thinking straight. I'm feeling numb. Oh, I can taste your love. Oh, I miss you so.
Let's try moving our hi-hat over here to the right.
I don't know if I'm even thinking straight. I'm feeling numb.
I kind of like that because it puts kind of two different hi-hats going in and out at two different times. This hi-hat coming in more on the left side, this hi-hat coming in more on the right side. I'm a fan.
I miss you so badly. I don't know if I'm even thinking straight. Oh, I can taste your love. Oh, I miss you so.
I feel like this can go out of the way.
If I'm even thinking straight, I'm feeling numb. Oh, I can taste your love. Oh, I miss you so.
Okay, so this is feeling pretty good to me. I've created a lot more space, a lot more stereo width, but there's two parts in particular, two background parts that feel like they're just kind of sticking out too far in a weird way. And on those, I want to try to do some Haas panning. So let's start with our electro percussion sample. So I'm going to solo this real quick. It's cool. It's just sort of sticking out too far over here to the left. So I'm going to basically just create a send, and I'm going to put my Haas delay on that send. So I'm going to go over here to a bus. The number doesn't matter. I'm going to select a bus, and I'm going to select post fader. That's really important. And in fact, whenever I do that, I'm going to turn up the gain until it's at unity. I'm also going to change all of this to post fader as well. So what that means is that it's going to be sending to all these reverbs and delays after the fader, but before the pan. And that's really important because if we're going to be doing Haas panning, we need to be able to pan our send in the opposite direction of our original track. So we don't want our send to be affected by this pan right here. So now that I've done that, you can see a new aux track just popped up over here. And I'm just going to call this Electro Haas because it's, it's with the electro percussion sample. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab very, very fast delay. In Logic Pro, I just want to grab the sample delay, which is a free delay that comes with it. And I'm going to select milliseconds, link the two. And if you remember correctly, the amount that I set my delay time is going to determine how far my panning is whenever it comes to this type of panning. If I wanted to pan it 50% to the left, then I'd usually want to have this set to about, 0.3 or 0.4 milliseconds. If I wanted to be panned 100% to the left, I usually want to set it at about 0.6 milliseconds. Now, because I want this panned 100% to the left, that is what I'm going to do. So 0.6, and then I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to pan this all the way to the right. And that's really important. If you're going to do Haas panning, you have to have the send panned in the opposite direction of the original track. Otherwise, it's just going to be an extra delay that you put on your track, and that's not really going to be helpful. So before I hit play, I'm just going to turn this down a bit. That's going to emulate the head shadow effect from a few videos ago, and it's going to make our Haas panning sound even more natural. So let's hit play and see if this is working well.
Badly. I don't know if I'm even.
Yeah, That sounds good to me. Now, it might be worth your time to potentially change the pitch of this Hotline or put a chorus on it or something like that. Something that we talked about in that prior video. That's just going to help you from getting any phase issues if you potentially ever summed your mix down to mono, which happens all the time. But in this moment, just for this example, I'm not going to worry about that too much. Now, there's one other track that I'm going to want to do this for, and that is this hi-hat sample. I want this panned all the way to the right, but it's just sounding a little weird to my ears. It's sounding a little independent, a little naked out there. So I'm going to add a Hotline. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to grab another bus, turn it all the way up. I'm going to set everything to post fader, so pre-pan. Let's call this hat Hoss. And we're going to do the exact same delay time, but I'm going to pan it oppositely because my hi-hat is panned all the way to the right. So I'm going to pan my Hotline all the way to the left. And let's do the same thing. Let's just turn it down a bit.
Oh, I can taste your love. Oh, I miss you so bad.
Yeah, this is feeling really good all of a sudden. It's like finally I've got a song. Finally I've got a mix. I'm feeling it. So that's it. That's the entire process for our direction step. So let's do a quick before and after. See really where we came from.
I miss you so badly. I don't know if I'm even thinking straight. I'm feeling numb. Oh, I can taste your love.
So now that we've done all three of our steps for the shadow method, our depth, our distance, and our direction, it's time for the grand reveal. Let's listen to a before and after for this entire thing. So with no space, no depth, no direction, no distance to everything we've done so far.
I miss you so badly. I don't know if I'm even thinking straight. I'm feeling numb. Oh, I can taste your